Welcome to the first day. We're going to jump right in and look at getting our art journals set up. Whatever kind of notebook you're using, we're going to look at some different techniques and some different things just to kind of prepare ourselves for what's coming up and to make sure that we are ready to roll. Few things to say first of all. In my opinion, there's no right way or wrong way to do this. There's just your way. And however you want to go about doing these things is perfectly fine. This is about you finding a way to be creative, a way that invigorates you, a way that helps you find joy in your life, to work through things you need to, whatever you need to do, however, if it's just to bring you some happiness, to bring you relaxation, stress relief, whatever this may bring for you. There's no right or wrong. It's just what works for you. There's lots of people out there, and there's books you can buy about art journaling and all that kind of stuff, and people will certainly have their opinions about what's the right way or the wrong way. But what I'm going to do over these 7 days is just show you some of the different things that I've learned as I've gone along, and share with you some of the more interesting prompts and themes that I've run across, and just hopefully ignite your love of art journaling. Another thing I want to say about this being for you, and for you to figure out your own style and how you enjoy doing this, is that some people here have been doing art as long as they've been able to hold a crayon, and some of you have never tried this before. And what this is about getting in touch with your own muse, the voice within you that encourages you to be creative and to create beautiful things, whatever those might look like. And it's hard sometimes with these online groups and these online classes, because some people create things that look like they ought to be in a magazine, or that ought to be in some professional gallery somewhere. And others of us are not at that point, or that we don't think we're at that point. Other people may think that our work is like that, and we don't see it ourselves. There's this whole range of where the critical voice comes in. And one thing that this is really about is learning to silence that critic and really focus on the positive muse within you that is going to encourage you to be creative and benefit from the good feelings that come with that. So everyone is welcome in class, of course, except for the critic's cousin, the person that we often refer to as comparison queen. And so comparison queen is that voice in your head who's going to pop up once in a while and say, oh no, look at what that other person's doing, yours isn't good enough, what are you even doing here? All that kind of stuff. And I mean, I even get that. It's like, this is the first time I've taught classes like this, so this is a risk for me. I look around and think like, well, other people are doing this, why am I doing this? But we all have things to share, we all have things to learn and grow with, and doing this kind of creative work is of a great benefit to all of us, no matter what our technical artistic skills may be. So this is a place to just try out some different techniques, see what you like, see what you don't like, and find out what may work for you as you move ahead, to see if this is a process for you that will bring you joy in the future and allow you to be creative, hopefully on a daily basis. I want to talk about blank page syndrome. So if you're anything like me, you've got lots and lots of these sorts of things hanging around, where you buy them, especially the ones with the pretty covers already, and then you save them because you don't know which project to use, or you don't want to ruin them, you don't want to mess them up, you want to save them for the right project, and then you just buy more and more and more, and you end up with all these blank books, and you don't know what to do with them. So what we're going to do today is get some paint and some color and some marks on these pages. So whatever kind of notebook you're using, or if you're using blank pages, or whatever you're doing, grab your stuff and let's have some fun. Okay, so we're here with our notebook. Again, I'm using the $5 item from Michael's. And what we're going to do is open up to the middle, somewhere in the middle, doesn't matter where. And as some of you know, I've just recently completed the Color of Woman training, which means I'm an intentional creativity teacher now. And one of the things we do in intentional creativity is add a lot of underlayers to the paintings that we do. When I was learning how to use acrylic paintings, putting down base layers was really important, and then beginning to build the painting up on top of it. And rather than put down different types of colors as the base, in intentional creativity we do things like actually write intentions, which we're going to do in the front of our journals in a few minutes here. And one of the other really important parts is to create a portal for our creativity. And that is done by choosing 3 colors and creating kind of an abstract painting that will be a foundation for everything that we do. So if you've got the paints, that's great. If not, you can do this with markers, colored pencils, crayons, whatever. And so I chose 3 colors. These are just 3 colors that I like to use together. You can choose any 3 colors that you like. Just kind of use your intuition and pick 3 colors that just feel right, that you'd like to use together, 3 that look good today, whatever the case may be. Just go ahead and choose 3 colors that look good. And as mentioned in the supply list, if you don't have brushes, you can also use like a hotel card or like an old expired store card, Safeway card, whatever. You can also use these to spread paint pretty effectively. And I'll show that in a second. And that should be all that we need for right now. So when you've got your 3 colors selected, I want you to think about them and then choose a color that will represent for you past, one for present, and one for future. And what we're going to do as we put these colors down is just think about those 3 times and how they have played out, how they intersect, what you're thinking of for the future, what you're thinking of right now as we're starting this process, anything from the past that is coming up or that you don't want to have come up. And we're going to put those colors down in a way that represents those 3 time periods for you. So I'm just going to put some paint on the page. Using the card definitely gives you wide strokes, which you may or may not like, but it's very fun and freeing to do it this way. And if you're using markers or crayons, just go ahead and color in lines, shapes, squiggles, whatever feels good, to just get down some of these colors that are going to represent for you where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. Use the tip of the card as well. Use as many sides or surfaces of the card. These cheapy washcloths work really well to wipe up in the middle of things. Baby wipes work really well too. And here comes one of my favorite colors, dark blue for the future. I'm going to add some shape. Piece of dry paint out of the way. And then add some more swirls. If you were over exuberant with the paint like I was, you can also use your credit card to mop up a little bit after yourself. You can either add some smears, or you can kind of scoop the paint out. Either way works. Okay. So while that's drying, sometimes what I do is just flip a few pages up, and then if you've got something you can prop it against, or if you can hang it off the edge of the table, there's different ways you can maneuver this so that the pages don't stick together and that the paint will dry. If you're working with markers, of course, you've got no problem with this. So in some cases, markers are much easier and much more portable to use as well. And as you get more into this, you will come to figure out whether you're comfortable taking this on the road with you, if you like to do it when you're not at home. Some people like to take small journals with them and do art journaling when they're traveling, or even when they're just out and about in their daily lives, to do sketching or to do different kinds of quick drawings to capture what's going on with their days, more like a visual diary. So if you've got a clean page that you can work on, what we're going to do now is work a little bit with some markers and just get ourselves over some more of that blank page syndrome and do some free creative drawing. I'll even call it scribbling, because it is sort of like scribbling. So if you pick a pen, pick a color that you like, and we're just gonna draw. We're just gonna make some shapes. We're gonna do it without really planning to do anything, but we're gonna see what comes out. So if this sounds weird, just watch me, and then you can play along at home. And remember, it's just paper. We've got a lot of paper in our books. I usually like to join mine so it looks like something. Just making shapes. I'm going to do more of that stuff in a minute. Another thing that you can try to do, which is really hard, is to switch to your non-dominant hand. So for me, my left hand, and then see what happens when you just let the pen go and see what happens. In my case, that looks more like an organic object than the other ones did, so sometimes you'll be surprised at what happens. There is also a drawing technique that some of you may have seen before called contour drawing, where you draw a face without looking at your hand. So you're looking at somebody else's face, or you're looking at a picture of a face, and you draw it while looking at the face but not looking at your hand. So you can't see me, but I'm looking off into the distance at a painting on my wall, and I'm going to draw what I think is in her eyes, and you don't lift your pen, and so then I'm going to go over and do her other eye. I'm probably really Picassoing this. Go back, go down and do the nose, do the lips, ha! Yeah, I was a little off there, wasn't I? But you can do this with, faces or any kind of objects. I mean, you can try it out. Draw a cup or draw anything that's within sight. But doing this technique where you don't watch and you're just letting the pen go is a great way to unleash your creativity and to kind of unlock your left and right brain to get those parts of your head unleashed and to get your creativity flowing. And when you have some things like this, you can also treat these as sort of do-it-yourself coloring pages, where you just make up your own designs like this. And if you do enjoy meditative coloring, then you can come back in and you can just start coloring in the spaces. And it's funny about the coloring craze. A lot of people have, bought lots and lots of coloring books, myself included. And some of us have talked about it, about how it's really not all that restful or relaxing. And it's kind of that same thing about what I was talking about with all the blank books and all the journals, is you buy these fancy coloring books and then you're afraid to mess them up. And this is one way to just kind of make your own up and do what you want with them. There's a really funny story about when I was in kindergarten and I had trouble coloring within the lines. As you can see, I still do. But I was getting a lot of flack from classmates about that, about how I couldn't color within the lines. And so I decided what I was going to do was outline everything on the particular coloring page with a black crayon. So I colored in all the spaces, and then I grabbed a black crayon and I went around all the edges of everything. So it ended up, it didn't look like stained glass. It just looked weird. I mean, it did look kind of weird, but at least everything was within these lines. And but that didn't go over very well either. So then I've got people, well, why did you do that? And it's like, well, because I can't color within the lines. So I'm trying to clean up the lines. Like, well, that's not how you do it. And that's, I think, what happens to a lot of us when we take art when we are younger. There's a lot of that, well, that's not how you do it, or this isn't the way it goes. And I think a lot of us get dissuaded from carrying through with art, with studying art as we grow older. And that's why doing this kind of stuff, making your own art journal, making your own coloring pages, making your own sketch pages, whatever it is that relaxes you, figuring out what your favorite tools are, whether it's paint or crayons or markers. That's why this can be such a great hobby, a great a way to relax, a great way to just get out of your head and let the creative juices flow while you give yourself a break from all the stuff that we all deal with every day. Ah, cornflower blue. This was always my favorite when I was a kid. So I did this whole segment and it didn't record properly, so we're going to back up a little bit and redo a little bit. What I did is I went back into my contour drawing and with some of my Tombow markers, and these are really good markers. These are water soluble, which means that you can use them with a paintbrush and some water. So let's see if so you can come in with them and have quite different effects. Use them like watercolor paint to really change things up a lot. Change her hair around quite a bit. And of course the thing to remember is that these aren't permanent, so if you do get it wet later, it will reactivate and blur some more. But these are double-tipped markers, so there's a brush tip on one end and a more typical script or writing tip on the other end. So these are very versatile. They come in a lot of great colors. And what I had done is I'd come in and with blue I'd added the color of her eyes, used black to do the pupil, the center of her eye, added her some red lips. And then I had started doing some decorative, just some doodling around the borders. And this is something that I end up doing a lot with my different art journals, is just kind of that meditative, playful, I'm kind of, I'm done with this. This was, I just kind of did this on a whim. This wasn't really, this wasn't really my intention. And it's like, yeah, I don't really want to, work on her to a great extent or try to make her face look more realistic or whatever. But there's all this white space, and it's kind of fun. So it can be relaxing to just kind of use it as an opportunity to add some shapes. You can do a lot with just lines and circles and alternating a couple of colors. This can really get you out of your headspace. Let you think about things. Let you just relax. Not think about things you don't want to think about. So, you get the idea with that. And the next thing we did, while my camera was not recording, was to return back to our portal page where we did our past, present, and future. And what you can do when you come back to this page, lots of options. One thing is you can just leave it alone and let it go. Another thing you can do is you might want to do some writing, some more traditional journaling. And you've got plenty of pages you can do that on. You might want to write about what the colors meant to you, or were you surprised by the colors you chose, or do you want to write something down about why those colors are your favorites? Did anything come up while you were blending the colors? Anything specific that came up about your past, present, future that you want to record for later? Did anything emerge with the shapes that came out, or the way the paint swirled together? Maybe it's just kind of an interesting, abstract, swirly painting, and that's okay too. It doesn't have to mean anything. But the great thing about art journaling is that it can. On one hand, this can just be kind of a cool, messy, swirly, interesting piece. And on the other hand, for me, it could represent deep feelings about the way my past underscores everything or underlies everything. And it could be about working through the present. It could be about looking forward to the future. It could be, for me, my past color ended up in two distinct blocks, and there might be reasons about that. Are there different time periods in my past that I think of as distinct? And there actually are, so that's why that's coming up for me. But so yeah, these things can be worked on that way, or not. It's just really up to you, and that's the beauty and the joy of it. The last thing we're going to do is go back to the beginning, where we skipped over some pages, and we're going to set our intention. As I mentioned with intentional creativity, the word intention is right there, of course, so no big surprise. But one of the first things we do is to set an intention for the work. And in this case, we're going to think about what we want to do with this 7 days that we have together. What do you want to get out of the art binge? What do you want to accomplish? What is it that you're looking for? And so I'm going to just scroll back here. And so you can you can put this on the inside cover, or you can go into the front page. Whatever you want to do, one of those first pages that we left clear. And you can get a marker, pen, crayon, whatever you want to do, pencil, however you want to write this. This is for you to just state your intention, to record your intention here in the journal about what you want to have happen. So for me, my intention is to inspire creativity. So my intention is to inspire creativity and bring joy to others, like you all, through paint and paper and markers and crayons and everything else. So hopefully today has done that at least a little bit to So hopefully today we have accomplished that at least a little bit, to inspire some creativity in you and to show you that you can have fun with some art journaling techniques. You can do whatever makes you happy. You can take things or leave things and make it your own. And so tomorrow's topic will be Name That Tune. And this theme will have to do with your favorite song or a song that's meaningful to you. So be thinking about what that one will be, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye.